Morning all, Dorset Rambler here. So I'm embarking on another backpacking adventure, this time along the Dorset and Devon coast, following the coast path pretty much, but varying it, as you'll see later. So this morning I've caught the train to Weymouth, and I started to walk from Weymouth along the old railway line to reach Ferry Bridge and the causeway that goes out to Portland, which is over there, the Isle of Portland, although technically it's not an island at all. Beautiful morning, and yeah, gorgeous weather, so I'm looking forward to this one, and I'll be posting a few bits and pieces as I go along. So I've now crossed the road at Ferry Bridge, the causeway that goes out to Portland, and I'm now following the path that skirts along the side of the Fleet. The Fleet is well, it's a lagoon, a brackish lagoon, the largest in northwest Europe, in fact. It's extremely long and narrow, and the only thing that protects it from the open sea is the world famous Chesil Bank or Chesil Beach, which is the tract of shingle across the water there, and if you climb up on that, the other side of that is just the open sea. So this is a famous tract of shingle which protects this brackish lagoon, which is known as the Fleet. Beautiful spot, and the further west I walk, the less brackish it becomes, and the more fresh water it becomes. There are a few little beaches along this stretch of the coast, along the Fleet. It is such a beautiful area. It's lovely walking. The path winds in and out quite a lot, and yeah, you get a few of these beaches. Not that you'd want to walk out too far out there, because I've tried that and sunk down into the mud before. But it's very still, peaceful. Few fishermen's huts across the other side. It's just a lovely area to walk. So from a slightly higher vantage point, you can see how thin Chesil Beach is before the open sea, and what little protection really it affords to the Fleet, but we'll hear more about that later. So the Chesil Bank over there has done a good job at protecting the Fleet from the ingress by the sea, apart from one fateful day, November 1824, when an almighty storm broke out and the waves crashed over the top of Chesil Beach and ran across the Fleet and 2 miles inland up this valley, demolishing most of Fleet Church, which you can just see the roof of amongst the cottages over there. Demolished most of the church and several cottages surrounding it, so the church that is up in there now is only a small part of what it once was, and a new one has been built further inland. And this is Fleet Church, or what's left of it, which is not a lot. It's just a tiny little section of it which is retained. It's been made famous by J. Mead Faulkner's book called Moonfleet, which is a great read if you've not read it, and it's all about smuggling and the Dorset coast, and about Moonfleet Church and the contraband being held in the Mahoon vaults, and all great schoolboy stuff. But it's a great novel, and that immortalised this little church. Unfortunately, I can't take you inside because there's a notice on the door that says there's an infestation of wasps, so the church is closed at the moment. But it's such a beautiful little church, even though half of it's obviously been demolished. So I've now left the Fleet. The footpath actually goes inland and takes you up onto a ridge, so I'm now looking down onto the Fleet and Chesil Beach, And down there in that wider part of the Fleach is the very famous Abbotsbury Swannery, which is extremely popular in the spring when all the young chicks hatch. And if I sweep round, on its hilltop in the distance is the really beautiful St Catherine's Chapel, which was a chapel come retreat centre for Abbotsbury Abbey when it existed. That's now ruins, and you can just see a little bit of Abbotsbury in the distance. So my route takes me down into Abbotsbury, and then I'm going to climb up the other side onto that ridge which you can see in the distance, and then continue to head west. So I've now come through Abbotsbury, and I've climbed up onto the ridge, which is what you see in front, and this is a view from up here. I mean, this is just totally awesome. In the distance over there you can see Portland, which we passed first thing this morning. Sweeping round is Abbotsbury in the valley, St Catherine's Chapel again, and it's just amazing. Just breathtaking on a day like today. It's fabulous. So I'm still on the inland ridge, a few miles further on. It's been beautiful walking, nice flat even grassy path with awesome views, and you can see in the distance Portland, the Isle of Portland and Chesil Beach and the Fleet are all still visible, but I'm about to leave those because I've now reached Abbotsbury Castle, which is basically just an ancient hill fort, ramparts overgrown, so not an awful lot to see really, apart from the awesome views. So from here the coast path is down there and the sea, but my route is going to continue on now for just another 2 or 3 miles. Done about 16 miles so far, about 19 miles, and that'll take me to my stopping point for the night. Great day, I think. It's absolutely beautiful. Well, good morning. This is the next day now, day 2 of my walk. I stayed in a campsite last night because it had been so hot that I desperately needed a shower, and they charged me £16, and that's just for a tiny one-man backpack tent. Couldn't believe it. Never mind, I had a good shower, so that was good. So I'm now heading back, early morning, heading back down to the coast path, which is down there, and then I'll be continuing my way along the coast, heading west. Beautiful morning. Now reached the what is essentially the western end of Chesil Beach. I've left the Fleet behind, and obviously it's right on the coast now. Now the interesting thing about Chesil Beach is that the shingle varies in size all the way along, and it's said that in old days when fishing was at its height, that a fisherman landing in on a foggy day would be able to tell where they were simply by the size of the shingle. Don't know whether that's true or not, but interesting story anyway. But I'm heading along that way, and my main challenge today is climbing up over that distant flat-topped headland, which is Golden Cap, which is the highest point on the south coast of England. Wow, how's that for a view? Hopefully the wind's not affecting the microphone too much. I've managed to get through West Bay safely. I say safely because it's a bit of a tourist trap, and it's heaving at the moment, but one thing they do is food, so I was able to have brunch in West Bay quickly before walking on, and that's what's facing me. So this is Ypres down here, and then beyond that I've got to climb up over the beacon and then Golden Cap. So here I am at the top of Thorncombe Beacon. So that's where I've come from, all along there, and even in the distance you can still see Portland if it comes out on the video all right. And this is the top of Thorncombe Beacon, and there's the beacon itself, ye old communications network. I guess that's the internet of the medieval age, and they used to send messages all up and down the country, victories at sea and so on. And where I'm headed for is down there, and the biggest challenge is the flat-topped headland which you can see down there, which is Golden Cap, and that's even higher than this. So on a hot day like today, that's going to be a stiff climb, and then you can see the coast going on way beyond that, of course. See Lyme Regis there and Beer in the distance, and then on towards Sidmouth. So I'm walking all the way there over the next couple of days, but yeah, just a brilliant view, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. So this is halfway up Golden Cap. So down there is Seatown, and across the other side Thorncombe Beacon, where I came from. So I've been down at sea level, now I've climbed back up again. Benefit of going through Seatown is that there's a shop there, so it's quite nice. So I've treated myself to an ice cream, so I think I've earned it. So this is where I'm heading, up there. That's Golden Cap, up close and personal. And the reason it's called Golden Cap is because it's geologically it's made of sandstone, which you can see is a kind of golden colour, so that's why they call it Golden Cap. And that's where I'm heading up to the top now. Oh, this is the top of Golden Cap. I've made it up, and these are the views. That's the view inland. Oh, fantastic views. My onward route carries on across the top, so we can't see the view the other side. And this is the view down east, which is where I've just come from. So this is the coastline that I've walked along so far. Absolutely gorgeous up here. It's they say no gain without pain, and it's quite true, because the only way you can get views like this is to go through the pain of climbing up here in the first place, because it's a stiff climb. Awesome. And this, if I can shield the microphone from the breeze, is the view from the other side of Golden Cap. So this is looking west, and another awesome view right the way around. It's beautiful. So I'm heading down this valley in front, and then obviously ongoing you can see the coastline going around the bay, Lyme Bay, that I'll be walking tomorrow, the distant coastline. You can see Lyme Regis in the distance. I should go inland at that point today, and that's where I'll be camping. Be about 19-20 miles I think by the time I reach that. But yeah, awesome, totally awesome. So I've now reached Stone Barrow, which is the next headland, and that's Golden Cap in the distance there. It's quite a tough walk between Golden Cap and Stone Barrow, because it's, contrary to how it looks on the video, it's actually very up and down, so there aren't many level parts, so there's quite a lot of climbing involved. So anyway, I've reached Stone Barrow, which is the headland which overlooks Weymouth, and Stone Barrow is up there. This is the top of Stone Barrow, where I cowboy camped one night, and swing round. This is the view west, so down over the hill the first town you see is Weymouth, and then I drop down there and then climb up over another headland and then drop down to the second town you see, which is Lyme Regis, and then inland from there. But yeah, that's Lyme Bay, another beautiful area, but obviously slightly more touristy again. Good morning. It's day 3 of my 4-day backpack from Weymouth to Exmouth, but I'm doing things a little bit different today. Last night I stayed at Upway, and normally I would drop down to Lyme Regis and pick up the coast path, but I decided I would instead stay inland, climb up onto the ridge, the inland ridge, and follow that. So this is the East Devon Way, which basically goes through some lovely Devon countryside. But I've got a reason for doing this, which we will see later. So the reason why I wanted to follow the inland ridge and the East Devon Way is because it passes through the town of Collyton, and at Collyton is the northern terminus of the tramway that runs from here down to pick up the coast path at Seaton. So I'm going to get on a tram in a minute, have a little ride down to Seaton and pick up my coast path. I've been wanting to do this for years and never actually got round to it, so I thought it was a good opportunity. So I've now reached Beer. This is a beautiful old fishing village, which is now more of a tourist trap. So I got off the tram at Seaton and I've climbed up a couple of miles over the headland and down, and I'm now dropping down onto Beer Beach, and then I'll be following the cliff tops beyond that. But the good thing about Beer is that there's some kiosks on the seafront, and they do food, so it's a good spot for lunch, so that's where I'm heading. Well, quite a change in the weather this afternoon. Having left Beer and climbed up onto the coast path again, it's clouded over a fair bit, still bright at times, but the main thing is that the wind's got up. It's a really gusty wind at the moment, so I can't record anything, any video at the headlands or up the tops, because you just wouldn't hear what I'm saying. It's just too windy. So I'm currently in a sheltered spot part way down off the headland, and I'm dropping down into Branscombe Mouth, which is the bay down there, and then I have to climb up the other side onto the top of that headland to continue down the coast. A view from the west of Branscombe Mouth. I'm sort of 3/4 of the way up the headland now, and over the other side You probably can't see it on the video, but there's a caravan park in the undercliff part below those cliffs. I'm not sure I'd fancy having a caravan there in case that lot came down, because it's the way the erosion is on the coast at the moment. It's not good. Well, that was a strange afternoon weather-wise. After all the sun we've had, it's been some really heavy showers this afternoon, and there's still very dark clouds up there. Anyway, I've come through now. Down below me here is Salcombe Mouth. I've already been up and down about 3 times, I think, down to Western Mouth and various other places where it drops down to the coast and then climbs back up to the headland again. But anyway, this is going to be my stopping point for the day, because I'm heading inland from this point to find my campsite, and then tomorrow I will continue onwards along those red cliffs that you see in the distance, which will take me through to Exmouth eventually. So I'll see you in the morning. Good morning everyone. It's now day 4 and I'm looking down in the mouth. Well, Salcombe Mouth to be exact, because that's what's down there. I've been out on the trail again now for an hour or so, and I'm now walking the coast path through to Sidmouth, which is up that way. So I've come down off the top already. Within a couple of miles of walking, I'm overlooking Sidmouth, which is quite a large seaside resort, I guess. It's amazing how the geology varies on the Dorset coast, because we've had white chalk cliffs at Beer just yesterday, was it? And then now it's all this red, either sandstone or mudstone. It's just amazing, the variety. So you can see the coast I'm walking along. I've got a couple of really high hills to get over, but then it flattens off a little bit after that. And for the time being, I'm just walking downwards. And it's going to be quite busy down here, because I gather there's been a Sidmouth Folk Festival on this week, so it's going to be quite a busy place, I suspect. But I'm hoping I might be able to get something to eat on the seafront, which would be good. Have a late breakfast. Well, not late, but I've already had one breakfast. Rather beautiful wildflower meadow. There's some lovely colours in there. And it's on the path overlooking Sidmouth. So I've now climbed up out of Sidmouth. No breakfast, because I was too early, unfortunately. Nothing was open. Trouble with getting up early. I'm now heading for Peak Hill, which is the obvious pointed hill in the distance. That's been home for people since Neolithic times. But yeah, climbed to get up to the top, but you can see the view from here is just awesome. So I'm now at the top of Peak Hill. That's where I've come from. Sidmouth down there in the distance. And you can see why this was a popular place in even back Neolithic times, because the views are all around views. It'd be well protected up here. and then the other side is where I'm heading. The blot on the landscape, of course, is the caravan park, Ladram Bay, down in the bottom, down here below me. But there, you get those, unfortunately. Beyond that, in the distance, you can see the town of Budleigh Salterton, which is where I'm heading for and where I'm hoping to get brunch. And then beyond that to Exmouth. One thing Ladram Bay is famous for is its sandstone outcrops. And obviously they make a good spot for seagulls. And of course it's got a beach, which is why the caravan site is so popular, I guess. So I've now reached Brandy Head, which actually gets its name from smuggling, basically, because they used to bring brandy in and ship it inland from here. But more recently it's well known because of its activities during the war, when this observation post was built to basically, the idea was they used to test sites, aircraft sites and guns and so on, and practice. And so the observation post was built to help that procedure during the war. This is more like our English summers. Nice wet table and chairs because we just had a downpour. So this is Budleigh Salterton. I'm actually rather fond of Budleigh Salterton, obviously because I've got connections here, I guess, but I just like the amazing array of colours there is in these pebbles. So this is a sweep of Budleigh Salterton. See the heavy clouds that have gone over. Oh, the sun's out, which is rather lovely. And there is where I'm heading, up over that red sandstone hill in front, and then follow the coast on to the point and Exmouth. About 4 miles to go for me now, and that'll be the end of my walk for these 4 days. It's been great. And this is obviously the working end of town. Obviously fishing is a occupation that still goes on here. I do notice that all the little cafes and that are advertising fresh crab sandwiches. So with a last look down the beach, we leave Budleigh Salterton behind, and it's time to walk on along the coast. So I've done my last climb, or last big climb anyway, up out of Budleigh Salterton, and Exmouth is in view. So there's about another 3 miles to go, but should be fairly downhill. Nearing the end now, getting busier as I've just passed through a big caravan park, but Exmouth is over there. And then of course the opposite side of the water is the coast of Devon and going on down to Cornwall. If I was doing the southwest coast path, I'd be walking all the way along that coast as well, but not this time. now reached my final destination. This is Exmouth Beach, the end point of my 4 days backpacking the Dorset and Devon coast. It's been a fantastic 4 days, I have to say. According to GPS, I've covered 73 miles in the 4 days, and it's just been awesome. So thanks for joining me and coming along on the walk with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. And this is me, the Dorset Rambler, saying until next time.